So a few weeks ago we talked about Angel Season 2 overall, and as usual, here is the highlight reel. Now, I do like to keep myself to about 3 or 4 episodes, so that's why sometimes I may have missed ones, because some have just been like, I need to talk about that because it's great. So this will probably have that too. There'll be ones that I miss off that some people will think are absolutely fantastic. There'll be some that I'll add that some people are like, why? But I think the most controversial, I suppose, of these is the inclusion of the Pylea arc. Now, I've kind of done it before with 5x5 and Sanctuary. Those really do have to come together, and I think the same applies to the Pylea arc. I did talk about it in the overview, and the fact that it was something very different. We've heard about Hell Dimensions, we've heard about the dark side of parallel worlds, but when have we ever heard of just a medieval fantasy world? I've never heard of one before in this series. So it was very novel, it was very interesting idea. And also it gave us, in the same year as he was introduced, a nice bit of backstory to Lorn, which is great. We needed, I think, to know who this guy was to really build that attachment to him. So this gave us that. It also had, the darkness, Wolfram and Hart are everywhere. Like I said in the overview, we had these monks working for them, and their idea of the Komshuk and everything like that was to really maintain control. She was a princess in name only. She had no real say. And it just gave us something very different. Also, it could be argued that the theme of this year is, what is a hero? I think that's very strong. As you sort of see the arc that Angel takes, you see that that is a very strong part of this season. And, Lorn's village are kind of like, yeah, the hero, he's so great, Angel, he fought the beast, and a hero's job is to do this execution, which is a human, or a cow, as they would call us. But Angel has to choose between being called a hero and acting like a hero, because they are two different things, and this is something that he's been realising throughout the year. And he does the actions of a hero. A hero is defined by action, not by title. He makes that call. He escapes, and Fred is left to run free and obviously come back with them at the end of the year, and obviously her whole arc will play out for the next few years. But that's it. He decides right then, this is what a hero is. And I love that. The other big arc, which is the opposite side, when he fails as a hero, when he can't save Darla, that descent into despair, I think, is a fantastic arc. From the moment that he realises that nothing can be done, he is filled with such rage, he's filled with such despair, he's lost hope. And I think that's a carryover from the Shanshu prophecy. If he can't keep, marking off his score of good, if you will, if he can't keep tallying up these deeds, then he's not moving closer to the goal. He's not going to be human. He's not going to live again. So I think there's an element of that. He's hanging on to this idea that this is how his life has to go. He has to keep doing the good works, then he'll get to live as a human, and then get to die as a human, and that's what he wants. And this setback, this thing where he can't save Darla, the only way he could do it is to turn her into a vampire, and he can't do that to her. He cannot do that to her, because she won't have the soul anymore. He will lose the person that he's got now, and just the heartless, evil person will remain. He can't deal with that. And that's what leads this whole spiral once she's turned by Drusilla and everything. He sets fire to them, and there's the whole kind of wine cellar incident, where he just leaves them. He parrots Hollow Manor's words back, and everyone in that room is terrified or gleeful, depending on which side of the spectrum they are. These people are expecting a certain response, because Angel is the hero. Again, this is the theme. If Angel is the hero, how should he act compared to how does he act? When you realise that this year had a theme of that, it suddenly takes on a very new meaning, and I think improves because of it. But I don't want to dwell on the heavy, big arcs too much. I think that's 2 big arcs in one video that's meant to be just highlight episodes is a bit cheaty. So we're going to talk 2 standout episodes. And I think one that we've got to use, is a bit darker, and we've got a silly one. So I'm going to end with the silly one. And first I'm going to talk about the swan song to Lindsay. I think, he's been a thorn in Angel's side for a while. And yes, he does come back at the end, in the last season. But, he gets his hand replaced because he's going up in the world. He's respected now. But it's an evil hand. This whole sort of body part farm that Wolfram and Hart are running is terrifying, as a concept. And that's the straw, apparently, that breaks Lindsay's back. He's fine with everything else, but he can't deal with replacement body parts, or like a body part farm. I suppose everyone's got their limits. And in a way, in choosing to go to Angel and go, look, I need you to help with this. This is wrong. I can't deal with this. This is very bad things they're doing. That's his kind of arc. He becomes heroic in that moment. And of course, we get the LA song, which is beautiful. I actually realised, I've looked up after this episode, and he is a singer in his own right. He's got albums and everything, and it's very country style. LA song was very typical of his kind of feel, and I think it's a great piece. And yeah, brilliantly played. He's a great loss when he went, but Christian Kane obviously did come back, and it was good to see. But even at the end of this episode, that kind of friendly rivalry is still there, with Angel slapping that notice on the back of his pickup truck. But the real silly ending to this video that I want to do, end on the silliest note possible, is Disharmony, because it gives us so much. It's again in this arc of Angel trying to get back, to who he is, and back in the graces of his friends and co-workers at one time. Not as their boss again, just as a friend and an aide. But, Harmony comes back. Cordelia's not aware, of course, like we would be, that she's a vampire, because we saw her in a few episodes of season 4 of Buffy. But, she's come over, she's trying to apparently make something of her life, she's improving. And as far as Cordelia's aware, she thinks she's coming on to her. So she calls Willow, and it's like, oh, she's a vampire. I thought she was just a big gay. Oh. That whole moment where it's like, she's saying she thought she was a big lesbian, and then obviously Willow clearly tells her, well, actually, while she might not be, I am. And I think that moment's played brilliantly. Great acting by Charisma Carpenter there to sell that moment. But the whole thing, Harmony wants to find some direction in the same way like Angel's trying to figure out who he is and what he needs to do. Harmony's doing exactly the same here, and I love that. She's trying to find a place in the world, but she's easily swayed. Mercedes McNabb plays this kind of airhead, easily swayed person too well. I'm sure she's not like that at all in real life, but she does it so convincingly. And she's obviously swayed by this pyramid scheme guy who apparently did this in his living life, his actual life as well. Evil sometimes doesn't change. But I just think it's a great episode. It gives us again that levity as we're heading towards the end of the season. It's bringing us into that fun mindset again after giving us such a dark part earlier on in the year. And I just think it's great. It gives us some development of lesser known characters, and gives us a really bizarre idea, a very off the wall thought that maybe why can't vampires have pyramid schemes and stuff too? So these have been a few of the highlights of this year. Like I say, it's all subjective, but I really think these are some of the telling moments. And like I say, when you look at it through the lens of what is a hero, this whole year takes on a very new meaning, and it's definitely the right direction. So we'll be back for season 5 of Buffy, and then season 3 of Angel. It's very hard to keep my head straight on this. I'm working on it. It's fine. But I do hope you'll join me for all of that and everything in between. But until next time, as always, thank you for watching, and take care.